Chairman yields back. The chair now recognizes Mr. Moore for 5 minutes for any questions.
Thank you, Chair. Appreciate the opportunity, Mr. Caldwell. Got a few actually specific questions to a bill that I was able to do through this committee, the Bear River Heritage Act, and wanted to dig into just a little bit of that because there's been several national heritage area study acts in this Congress, including the Bear River one that we had done a few months ago. Any advice from you as you see communities going to work on some of these to study the process to ensure, to ensure that it's done efficiently as possible? Any sort of just general thoughts to those types of bills, not particularly to the Bear River, although you're welcome to discuss that if you know much about it, but just in general, any advice there?
I think and thank you for your question. I think it's important for any community that's engaging with the National Park Service as a way to preserve the nationally significant stories of their area, is to really have that collaboration, the open communication, the dialogue, and to learn from other heritage areas, for example, or other affiliated areas. I think certainly Congressman Tonko has several in upstate New York, and I think to rely on some of the technical advice and experience of Park Service staff who have worked with heritage areas, I think is critically important. I think at the end of the day, the National Park Service is successful as our partnerships are successful. And I think as you venture into whether it's a special resource study or a recon study, those are important efforts of a community interacting with the National Park Service to really look at some important history. What's the history? What's the significance? All those other elements of how this agency can work in collaboration with communities. So bottom line, just learn from the past experiences across the country and try to tap into those experiences that people have had.
They're timely and expensive. I think we could be in agreement on that. How many do you know of? How many do you know how many are currently in process? My question's about backlog, right? Like understanding,
Sure.
Why such a big backlog, and just a general sense for how many they are, so I can communicate.
Right now, we have in the pipeline, we have about 25 authorized studies and 8 reconnaissance surveys pending. So that's our backlog. Where our goal, our work plan talks about getting about 7 out to Congress in 21. And I think what I would say in terms of our needs to improve our processes internally, as we identified in our National Park Systems Plan that we issued in 2017, and we could certainly provide you a copy of that. We speak to how do we internally in the National Park Service perhaps expedite our process? What opportunities do we have to, for however you want to put it, speed up the process internally to get to these determinations in perhaps a more efficient way? And so we allude to that in the National Park System Plan. And like I said, happy to follow up with the committee staff and go over some of the things that we're at least considering now internally within our agency to expedite those.
And that's the essence of my question is what can we do to expedite? What can we do to make this a little more timely process? The folks that have been working on the Bear River Heritage Study Act, it's been years, it's been decades that they've been wanting to do this. I would love to be a part of getting this in the right direction. I oftentimes think that my consulting background that I just left the management consulting world. I would love to find a way to dig in and actually make changes here. So know that our office is very is very important to us, but we'd be willing to dig in if there's anything we can do to help untangle some of this, because the backlog will even be more of a disruption and a frustration for my constituents. So yeah, but that's the essence of my question. Largely a big backlog, got to make it more timely and efficient, and really appreciate you making that a focus. So thank you, Chairman. I yield back.
Thank you, sir.
Gentleman yields back.